Okay, in grade 6, when they gave you 7/4, without telling you what to do, you actually knew the answer was supposed to be 1 3/4. Okay, and with this one, 3 1/2, also without actually telling you what to do, you knew the answer was supposed to be 7/2. Okay, now in grade 7, it's important that you know what's the names of the different ways of writing these fractions, because we're going to use them in certain sums. Now these are not sums, this is just converting of an improper fraction to a mixed number and the mixed number to an improper fraction. But now to be able to do these sums this year, we need to know what's the difference between, or what's the names of the different fractions or mixed numbers. And we are going to use this in the sums, and that's sometimes confusing, and that's the part that we actually want to sort out with the explanation that I'm going to give to you. Okay, in grade 6, when you did the 2 1/3, we had to convert it to an improper fraction. You knew basically that you had to multiply and add or you multiply the unit with the denominator and add the numerator. And now some people get confused, what do I have to multiply and what do I have to add? So just to make it easier for you, I'm just going to show you by writing it out what you have to multiply and what you have to add then to make this into an improper fraction. Okay, now some of you will be able to do the short way just by saying 2 times 3 plus the 1. But now to sort it out and not confuse yourself with these ones, I'm going to write exactly what you have to do. So you start with the biggest number, and that's a unit, times the denominator, and then you're going to add the numerator. Okay, this is just to do it a longer way until you know what to do, and then your denominator is going to stay at the bottom as it is there. So you're not going to change this, it's just by having all these ones as fractions or parts of the fractions that you're going to add. So if you're not sure, you can write there that this is the unit, you are going to multiply the denominator and you're going to add the numerator with that. So then my answer will be 2 times 3, and you'll see the calculation signs. First the multiply, you can also think back of order of operations. So 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1, and that's going to be 7/3. Now as soon as you know what direction to go, you don't need to write this anymore. This is just to help you if you didn't have it right with the exercises you already received, or even if it's last year's ones that you were confused with. Okay, let's have a look at another one. 1 4/5. So again, I'm just going to write the 1, that's a unit, times the denominator plus the numerator. And everything, what fraction did I use? That was fifths. And you'll see, just to help yourself, you can see the numerators are basically in the same at the same position, so then you don't get confused. Okay, now to do the answer, 1 times 5, and sometimes you can write the 5 at the top, 5 plus 4, and that's going to be 9/5. Okay, if you see you had it wrong in the previous exercises, you can just redo it and follow these steps so that you can see if you understand it better. Okay, with this one, if you know the shorter way and you're sure about the direction you're going, you can even do it like this: 1 times 5 plus the 4, and then you can write the answer a shorter way just by writing it 9/5, or 9/5. Okay, and the more you're going to do that, the better you are going to be able to remember what you have to do. Okay, now a problem usually or every year is when you have to convert an improper fraction to a mixed number. Now the problem with this usually is that you don't know your timetables. If we look at the calculation signs we used here with the mixed number changing to an improper fraction, we use the multiply and the add. Now to do the opposite, so converting from an improper fraction to a mixed number, we're just going to do the opposite calculations. And usually, like me too, we don't know our timetable so well, so we need to find another way of making it easier for ourselves with not making mistakes with multiplication or division. Okay, now if we look at this one, 13 quarters. Okay, I'm just going to show you another way, and please remember, when we do fractions, there's more than one way. This is not the only way. I'm going to show you a few other methods that you may also use, keeping in mind that you are going to high school and you're still going to do exactly the same thing. So I want to make it easier for you that you can also use the same methods or use the same ways in the primary school and going on with it in the high school. Okay, now to show you, if you think back of grade 4, you did the repetitive subtraction and then you got to a division. Now here we're going to do exactly the same, and I'm going to show you instead of explaining it to you with all those big words. If you look at the numerator, it's bigger than the denominator, and if I do a subtraction sum, I can write it exactly the same to make it a subtraction sum. So if you look at the numbers, the 13 stays at the top, the 4 stays at the bottom. But now this line that shows me it's a fraction, the division sign basically, is going to move under the 4. Okay, now I'm just going to do normal subtraction. Now if you think back of last year or any subtraction sum, if I've got 13 and I subtract a 4, that's going to be 9. Right, now I look at the 9, that's my answer. I'm going to use the minus 4 again because that's my denominator. I'm going to subtract the 4 again, and that's going to be a 5. Now if I look at my answer, that's a 5. I'm going to ask myself, can I subtract the 4 again? Yes, there's enough, so I'm going to be left over with 1. Now how to write this back as a mixed number? I'm going to count the times I subtracted the 4. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3 times that I subtracted the 4, and that is going to be my units. Now if you look at the remainder, that's a 1. That is going to move to my numerator. So that's going to become my numerator, and the 4, the quarters, or the number that I also subtracted, is the 1 that I used as the denominator. The denominator is going to stay exactly the same. Okay, just to go over this again, so my 13 goes to the top, 4 to the bottom, so it's exactly the same order, and I start subtracting the 4. And then at the end, I'm just going to count how many times did I subtract the 4, and you're going to see it's 1, 2, 3 times, and that's where my unit comes in. And then my remainder is going to be my numerator from here, and that is simplifying from an improper fraction, an easier way, or using subtraction the whole time. I'm going to get to a mixed number. This method, if you know your timetables, you don't have to do this. You can just do the division and then the subtraction. But if it's bigger numbers, it's going to be easier for you just to keep on subtracting, because I think subtraction is easier than division. Right, let's have a look at another one. Okay, if I've got 14 fifths, I'm going to do exactly the same, and I'm going to change my fraction into a subtraction sum. So I'm going to have 14 there at the top, the 5 at the bottom, and I'm going to start subtracting. So I'm going to say 14 minus 5, and that's going to be a 9. Can I subtract a 5 again? Yes. Then I've got 9 minus 5, and that's going to be 4. Can I subtract a 5 again? No. So 4 is going to be smaller than a 5. I can't subtract again. And then I'm going to count my minus 5s, and that is going to be my unit. So there's 1, 2 times I subtracted the 5. That's going to be my unit, and my remainder is going to be my numerator, and my denominator stays the same. Okay, let's see if the numbers are bigger. And in some cases you're going to see you actually know your timetables and it's easier, but to play it safe you can rather use this method. Okay, let's have a look. The 37 minus the 10. Okay, so I'm going to say 7 minus 0 is 7, so it's a normal subtraction sum. 3 minus 1 is 2. Can I subtract a 10 again from the 27? Yes. So I subtracted another one. Okay, then 17 minus 10. Yes, I can. So then it's a 7 that's left. Now let's have a look at how many times I subtracted the 10. It's 1, 2, 3, and that is going to be my units. And then my denominator, or my numerator, is going to be what I have left over there as the remainder, so that's going to be 7 over 10.